Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. Oh my God. Holy balls. What a freaking show. Oh, Punk Tracy jumping in here with the super sticker right away. Thank you, brother. Much love. As always, you folks know what to do. Smash that like button, smash that sub button, ring that bell for notifications. Man, where do you begin with this show? I mean, this show was absolute fire. And I'm not going to sit here and be the fan because you know what brands I support. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, this show was better than this show. You had two completely different brands, two completely different shows. I loved them both equally. And look, it's all subjective. You can love one more than the other. It's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I as me and on this platform, I'm just going to tell you, I loved Impact's Overdrive and I loved tonight's Full Gear. Like I said, both brought something completely different. So I can't sit here and tell you right off the top of my head which one I loved more. Both had tremendous wrestling. And I'll tell you one thing, especially about tonight's show, and people have been so, here's that word, critical. People have been very critical over the last few years about the women's division in this brand of All Elite Wrestling. Tonight, the women brought it across the board. I loved the TBS title match. Great little tribute to Eddie thrown in there. It was really, really cool. I loved the Tony Storm Hater match, and I especially loved Britt Baker's match versus Saraya, the return of in-ring competition of Saraya, formerly Paige of the WWE. All three of these matches were great. They gave him a decent amount of time. Not a ton of time, but I mean, for what we're like, you're not going to get a 60-minute match out of Jade Cargill. And that's not to say it's like, oh my God, what is he saying? No, I'm saying for where Jade Cargill is right now, because she's still pretty new to this industry, you're not going to get a 60-minute match out of her. That's not to say that somewhere down the road, you better be damn sure we're going to get an Iron Man match out of Iron Woman match out of Jade Cargill down the road. I'll put money on that. I have every utmost confidence in that. But for where she's at right now, what we're getting out of her, 10, 15, 20-minute matches max, I'm good with it. I'm good. I don't even know what tonight's was. I'm just going to throw a guess and say 10. All the women's matches were great. I loved them all. Let's start with the pre-show. I'm freaking tired. I tried to pump myself with freaking caffeine tonight. I was yawning right before we went live. I'm like, oh, I'm already in trouble. So I'm going to try to get going on this. Plus, I want to watch the media scrum because, well, you know, sometimes stuff happens at a scrum. Sometimes. No, honestly, I hope nothing happens. I hope it's a boring freaking scrum. Just like all the others, you know. This gal talks, this guy talks, Tony gives him a hug, say goodnight. You know, I don't want what happened last time. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I am always going to love CM Punk. You can hate me for saying that. I really don't care. But for the year that CM Punk gave us in AEW, I will always be thankful. In fact, I was so excited. I found this in the wild just north of my town. So yeah, I got this one tonight. So good old CM Punk. He's always going to be one of the best in the world to me. Am I ever going to see him wrestle again? Probably not. But for what his contributions were, I'll always appreciate him for it. I'm not going to talk about the other shit that happened because it ain't worth talking about because we never got a straight story on what happened anyways. So you can hate him, you can love him, I don't care. So anyways, we continue. Mike M says a total victory for AEW tonight. Yeah, I mean, it was sold out. It was, as far as I know, it was sold out. It was $1 million gate. That's always impressive. Everyone put on a hell of a show. Crowd was hot all night. There was not a match that this crowd was not hot for. This crowd, this Jersey crowd freaking brought it. They were excited to be there, and they just, man, especially the main event. And we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Bell's boy, what is up, brother? Super Chat says, surprised the Elite didn't go over tonight. A very interesting Full Gear tonight. Yeah, I was shocked too. I mean, that was one of those things where a lot of fans assumed, oh, they're going to come back, they're going to win. And you don't understand why it happened until they announced the best of 7. Best of 7. If you missed it, that's what they announced. It's going to go across the next 6 episodes. And it's going to end in California. So that's oh, it's going to end in California. Who's from California? Oh, the Young Bucks. It's probably going to be where this whole thing ends. So we're going to see the full 7. It's going to be nuts. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I've missed the Young Bucks, as you know. If you follow me, you know that the Young Bucks are one of my favorite tag teams right now. So, but yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So let's start with the pre-show, and it was a good pre-show because it didn't feel like they crammed too much in it. Each of the matches had some breathing room, and they were given a decent amount of time. Like each match had like 20 minutes. It was really kind of wild. You start out here with the Best Friends, with Orange Cassidy and then Danhausen, a different kind of Danhausen, showed up at the end, which, I mean, we're so used to this, like, you know, goofy, corny version of Danhausen, and this guy shows up and it's like, oh my God, who's this kid? It was versus the Factory, and well, the Best Friends won. I look at it as, hey, it's just another way to get more people on the show. I'm fine with it. People get a paycheck. I'm never going to complain that you threw some people on a show so they can get a paycheck. Orange Cassidy and his crew are insanely popular still. If they came out and there was zero reaction, I'd start to worry. You know, I'd be like, okay, something's changing here. There's a change in the air, you know? So, you know, and how long that's going to go, I don't know. But I like what they're doing. They're not one of my favorites, but I appreciate the gimmick. I appreciate Orange Cassidy for he's still unpredictable to me. Like, he does the kicks and the crowd goes, oh, oh, oh. You know, that's all, you know, we know he's going to do that. But it's the stuff when he's like, running around, flipping around on the fly, that's always unpredictable, and you never know exactly what he's going to do next. So that's why I appreciate, the gimmick, whatever. Punk says, I'm hoping the House of Black eventually wins the trios titles. I'm sure it's going to happen because it looks like they're coming back, and I'm, when they're going to come back, I don't know. Probably sooner rather than later because we've seen promos of them. At least I think there's been some promos. I know I've missed a few weeks here and there over the last month or two. But it's like, there's something in the air. There's something evil afoot. But yeah, this is a fun way to start it out. Best friends and Orange Cassidy and very evil, very spooky Danhausen got the win. I never saw the thing with the spike in the teeth. I got a feeling that's part of his gimmick that goes back on the indies for a while, but I've never seen him do it live. So when he did do it, it was like, oh dear God, he just dropped a mouthful of teeth down. Damn, I can't remember that big guy's name. But anyways, Comoroto. He dumped a jar full of teeth in a guy's mouth. I'm like, oh, that's just creepy. But yeah, crazy way to start the show. Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks. Crowd was hot for this one. Now this is part of that tournament, and so now Ricky Starks is going to face Ethan Page on Dynamite. It originally was all going to end tonight, but because of injury, they had to pause it or whatever they did to, readjust the timing of the matches and stuff. This was fun. I was fine with either one of these guys winning. I still like Brian Cage. He's not one of my favorites. He used to be one of my favorites back when, Lucha Underground was on and he was a different, well, I mean, he's still the same, but, there was a little more character to his, gimmick or whatever. He was a little more evil. Now he's just Brian Cage, Ricky Starks is still amazing in the ring. He's had some hiccups along the way. I saw some of the highlights from his match with who did he beat last night? That big Lance Archer. Man, jeez. Friggin' he rolled him up, and I was like, how the hell do you roll up a big guy like that? It's like 3 times. Anna says she still likes Brian Cage. Well, there you go. See, there's 2 people that still like Brian Cage, no matter what people say. So there you go. Love who you love, who cares what anyone else says. Ricky Starks gets the win here. Like I said, Ricky Starks is going to face Ethan Page, I believe, on Wednesday. And then the winner of that match is going to be the number 1 contender, and they'll get a shot somewhere down the road. Is it winter is coming is when it's going to happen, like a few weeks away or something like that? It's going to happen sooner rather than later. That's going to be the main event for that. Interesting. All right. Akiyama versus Eddie Kingston. I really don't know anything about this Akiyama. I might have seen him somewhere before in a match. In my, you watch a billion matches here and there, and a few of them international. But this was a dream match for Eddie Kingston because this is one of the guys that inspired Eddie Kingston to start wrestling, and I'm guessing he saw this back in the days when there was still tape trading going on and people tape traded the whole international stuff, the Japan stuff, and I'm guessing that was a big part of it. So to see this match go on, even though I had no clue who this guy was from, DDT Wrestling, I believe it's who it was as far as the organization. It was one of the smaller Japan ones. But certainly put some eyes on him tonight, which is nice. Never complain about that. Eddie Kingston gets a win. Super emotional after his win. Very cool match, kind of a classic, slap chop Japanese strong style match. Good stuff. That's not everyone's cup of tea. I don't like it all the time, but for this, I love Eddie Kingston. How raw his emotion is in the ring. He wears his heart on his sleeve 24/7 when it comes to wrestling. And then he was talking to the crowd a little bit before the pay-per-view. He's like, you got 4 minutes, buy the fucking show. It's like, oh my God. Gotta love Eddie. He's just he's 100%. What comes out of his mouth is it's always real. I'm never going to doubt anything that comes out of his mouth. The guy's always pretty legit. So it was 3 matches, and like I said, they gave them each a decent amount of time, which was nice. We got the main card started out unbelievably hot. Oh my God, I was not expecting this. I was expecting this to be like halfway through the pay-per-view to keep the crowd up on their feet, to kind of not wake them up by any means that this would be a boring show. It was a great card, but just to kind of your crowd's up here, your crowd's down here, your crowd's up here. Not every match can be the crowd is up here all night long, but this city brought it all night long. They didn't falter on any match, as far as I could tell. It's cage match. This rivalry is getting very heated between Christian and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. But in this case, it was Luchasaurus, who is the muscle of Christian, versus Jack Perry. And as I go through the rest of this card, please drop in the chat. Let me know if you liked the match, what you thought of it. Make sure you're smashing that like button as we go through this. Give that video a thumbs up. This, like I said, this was a hot way to start the show. Cage match between Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Luchasaurus. Man, they told a tremendous story. And I wasn't real sure on the rules, but when all of a sudden, everything spilled outside of the cage, I'm like, oh, did someone just win? No, it's not. No, that's not the rules here. Okay, never mind. So I was like, because as soon as Luchasaurus was out of the ring, and then he was kind of not like he messed up or anything, but he was watching Christian get hauled away. Because then he was trying to get more weapons inside the cage and whatnot. So Zach Bonifer got the Scissor Me Champs on the media scrum. Oh, that's amazing. Cool. Very cool. I will watch that later. Thanks, brother. And thanks for being here as well. Great cage match. We have not seen a cage match on this brand in a long time. That's one thing I appreciate, is we don't get a ton of gimmick matches. I mean, we get some here and there, but I'm gonna straight up tell you, I don't remember the last cage match. There actually, you know what? I think I do remember. It was the feud where It was Phoenix and wait, yeah, Phoenix and Pentagon versus the Young Bucks, and I don't remember who won, but it was an amazing cage match, and tag titles. I think it was. Um, so, but yeah, it's been a while, and this was a lot of fun. Luchasaurus beat the holy hell out of Jack Jungle Boy. But Jack Perry did come off with the win here. Even had a elbow through, dive off the top of the cage, elbow through a table to Luchasaurus, which ended up being one of the last straws in this match against Luchasaurus. A lot of fun, great storytelling. I don't know what's next for this whole thing. Eventually, it's going to have to end with Christian, I think, but God only knows when Christian's going to come back. So, Bell's Boy says, question, please. Were you scared for Saraya tonight? I kind of was. No, I really wasn't. I mean, there's always that little bit, like, you just hope that it's the first match. Right. At this point, like, I wasn't scared of her injuring herself, even though she told a great story in the ring. There was a couple of times when she was like motionless, and then you kind of do an inward gas, a little gasp inside your body, like, oh, oh, she's not moving. Oh, that was kind of a rough spot. But from the interviews I've seen, um, the scans that they had done for her to like legit make sure that she could wrestle, um, her neck is completely fine. There's fluid all the way around her spine. Um, from what I heard, and that's like normal. Um, as far as her neck was good, and yeah, it was an emotional match. It really was, and that was it's one of the reasons why I made it to cover, because it was going to be absolutely one of the highlights of my night. Not that the main event wasn't special, but man, I really started thinking about it. I'm like, man, if I'm putting my $50 down and I want to see, yeah, I want to see the whole card, but if I want to see one match out of this whole damn thing, I want to see Soraya's return. Um, that night when she announced to the crowd that she was cleared and she had that shakiness in her voice, that's real. That's real right there. That's real emotion. That's she didn't know, you know. Tony Tony really took a chance on signing her because she was not cleared when Tony signed her. I mean, there was a good chance that she was going to be cleared, but there was nothing definite at all. So Tony got lucky with that one. He really did. Um, but yeah, that was great. Um, now you got me jumping all over the place here. That's all right. Love your bells, boy. Thanks. Trios tag team titles, Death Triangle, Pentagon, Phoenix, and Pac versus the Elite, the return of the Elite. um, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Man, man, was this fun. I mean, there was a lot of like tension built up in the match, and even if there wasn't anything prior, like they made it feel like there was like something there for the longest time between Pac and Kenny Omega. Do I want to see that one-on-one someday? You damn Skippy, I do. Absolutely. Hell yeah. And I couldn't tell you if they did face each other. Maybe someday, back way back in the indies when they were starting. I have no idea. I really don't. but I'm hoping it's going to happen somewhere down the road. We're going to get this best of series 7 first. But yeah, this so much fun. I was so happy to see some of my favorites. I mean, talk about starting off hot. They got the cage match. I get the return of some of my favorites, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And I was I was surprised when they didn't win, but I wasn't it wasn't like I enjoyed the match so much. I really wasn't that mad. I was more surprised than anything. I just it all made sense when they announced the best of 7. It was like, "Oh, we're doing oh boy, best of 7." Now, there's been times before where I did not enjoy the best of 7. And I've talked about that before. There's been, other series, and it's one of those things where that is not something that happens a lot in professional wrestling across the board. You very rarely see that, which is good because you can't have that kind of stuff all the time. Otherwise, as soon as they announce it, people are going to go, shit, But this is one I'm like, give this to me because it's going to be one of the best rivalries to end this year of 2022. Death Triangle versus the Elite. So, Death Triangle, Pentagon, Phoenix, and Pac did retain here, and it was an amazing match. And yeah, it's gonna be back and forth, like a typical basketball NBA finals series, or whatever. Um, so it is what it is. But each match is gonna be made to feel big because we went a few months without our favorites. So it's great to see them, and I'll never I'll never skip a Death Triangle match, man. They always bring it. Um, Anna says, I usually don't have the attention span for a best of 7. I hear you. I hear you. But at least these matches aren't going to be boring. They always bring it, and I feel like they're going to have to do something to make it a little different. And I don't just mean wrestling gear changes. they're gonna do something. I don't know what, but they'll do something. So Tony will have something up his sleeve. We'll have to wait and see. TBS title time: Nyla Rose versus Jade Cargill. Nyla Rose comes out with Vickie Guerrero in a lowrider, which is a nice little tribute to Eddie. Always wonderful thoughts when I think of Eddie Guerrero, and well, you can boo Vickie Guerrero all you want, but down deep inside, remembering who she's connected to is always going to bring a little warm feeling there. Jade Cargill with the Thundercats. If you didn't know what she was cosplaying as, it was I looked it up. And it's the Thundercats, and the character Chitara. That's it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. That's Chitara from the Thundercats. No, not Lion-O. But that is one of the Thundercats, so I'll give you points for that. So I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's Thundercats." But what's funny is the last time she did the cosplay, she did it as She-Hulk, and no one on the announce team, at least from what I remember, said, oh, she's green because that's the color of money and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, she's She-Hulk, dumbass. It's like, come on. Come on. Good series, by the way. I did enjoy that one on Disney Plus. The next one I'm going to watch on there is probably Andor. I haven't watched one episode yet. No spoilers, please. I'm just going to wait till it's done, and then I'm going to binge the whole thing because I'm just trying to stay away from it whenever I see something about, oh, this episode came out. Okay, nice. I'll just watch the whole thing at once. Fun match, though, between Nyla Rose, Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, I'm not going to say wins it back because she never lost it because Nyla Rose stole it. Another thing that she would have learned from Vickie Guerrero because that's something that Eddie did all the time. So, you lie, you cheat, you steal. What a classic, right? Jade Cargill gets the win here. Extra points for Thundercats. And yeah, she's like 42-0 now. I really kind of thought that Nyla Rose was going to be the one to take it from her finally, but because I mean, let's be honest, Jade Cargill does have a few opponents here and there where it's like, all right, I'll watch, but you kind of know what's going to happen. Even though I always say don't assume in the world of professional wrestling. But if anybody was going to take it from her, I really thought it was going to be Nyla. Another AEW, homegrown talent. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I don't want to even guess who's next because usually when I guess I'm completely wrong because it's usually someone I've never heard of. But we'll see. Ring of Honor title. Now, my apologies. I did doze off for the second part of this match. The part that I did see up to, we started seeing some tension between Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. So it had to happen. You see them work together for a while. There's miscommunication. Sammy's like, F you. They start scrambling. Okay. And then I kind of just closed my eyes for a bit, dozed off, woke up as Chris Jericho retained his title. So can't tell you much about it. My apologies. That's not to say that the match was boring. I just needed more caffeine. So that's when I went to go get my Monster. But yeah, Claudio, Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson. Man, you really got to think that Bryan Danielson's going to take it from Chris Jericho one of these days, but who knows? Who knows? That's right, Punk. Lie, cheat, and steal. But yeah, Chris Jericho retains, and we'll see what's next. Talked a little bit about Saraya versus Britt Baker. Great match, told a great story, really made you wonder if Britt Baker was okay. She sold everything really well. She still got it. She hasn't been in the ring in 5 years. I don't know how much she's actually been in the ring practicing, staying in shape. I have no clue, but she still got it. She looked great. She had a hell of a match with Britt Baker, and Britt Baker is one of the best women wrestlers on this brand. So, great feud. We'll see what's next for both women. But yeah, it felt good to see Saraya back. She and she was very emotional. You could see that. It was great to see her brother out there. Great to see family supporting her. Because man, that family's been through a lot. As far as they've always been in the wrestling industry and stuff. So TNT title on the line. Powerhouse Hobbs, Samoa Joe, who is also the Ring of Honor TV title, and Wardlow, the defending TNT champ, was a little surprised, not overly shocked. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be Hobbs night, but you can never downplay the experience and whatnot of Samoa Joe. Man, that guy's still got it. Just when you think he's like clobbered and he's done, he comes back. Just, man, and it's all about timing in a match like this. You think it's done, and then all of a sudden Joe comes in and just steals it. So it is now 2 belts Joe. 2 belts Samoa Joe. So I was kind of in the Discord here and there throughout the night, and saw some different opinions on Samoa Joe, some good, some bad. I still love Samoa Joe. The guy can still bring it, you know. He's yeah, he's still got it. So, but yeah, and well, and the thing is, in my professional podcasting opinion, this run of Wardlow and the TNT title, there was something, and I love Wardlow. You know, he's a homegrown talent. I don't know what went wrong to say, oh, it's all Tony's fault. Well, no, you could say it was how it was booked. Sometimes it just, I don't know. I'm not going to say it fell completely flat, but something was just off about this. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just Wardlow is one of those wrestlers who's better in the hunt than being on top, you know? And there's been people like that in the past where, you know, someone who's going after someone, you know, say a heel has the championship and the baby face is after him, and you love the journey of the baby face going after the title. He's trying to, you know, get over on the heel. And then finally, when the babyface gets the title, it's like, oh, yeah, it's great. But then once it happens, where do you go from there? And that's not for everyone. There's a few people like that. And I kind of feel like Wardlow is one of those people, but I think it's just because Wardlow needs a little extra something. I don't know what. I mean, his character is pretty plain, cut. I don't want to say plain, pretty cut and dry. He's a badass. He looks tough. He's kind of like this era's Batista, and I know a billion people have said that. Or some people are going to compare him to like Goldberg. But I feel like he's got more talent than that in some ways. So, but I think he's just, I don't know. He's got some growing to do. He needs something. I don't know what it is, but nonetheless, Samoa Joe is your new TNT and ROH TV champion. 2 belts, Samoa Joe. Congrats to him. We'll see what's next for Hobbs and Wardlow. We'll see. Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Man, there was something in the air when this match started, and you could feel it, and you could probably, when you were there, you could smell it. You know, not really smell it, but you know, the saying goes, there's something in the air. Because when this match started, this arena, if you missed it, go back and play it because it's something of beauty. This arena chanted TNA, TNA. I mean, it brought back a lot of memories. Classic Jeff Jarrett Sting stuff. I mean, that goes back to the, I mean, those two have been feuding since the early 2000s, the end of WCW. Back when Jeff Jarrett was like on top of the second Yeah, no matter what you thought of the NWO at the towards the end of WCW, man, um, good old Slapnuts was on top of the world, you know. Um, and Jeff Jarrett then formed TNA with his father Jerry, and they brought in Sting, and that was a huge rivalry there as well. And now we saw it again tonight, and man, Jarrett's in pretty good shape for his age. For what he has to bring, um, he can still do it. He's still got it. And my God, Sting diving off of balconies on top of giants like Satnam Singh. Jeez Louise. I mean, it's I love seeing it, but man, I hope to God one of these times he doesn't kill himself. But man, Sting is really still gotta love. I mean, I'm sure he loves the paychecks, but Sting has really gotta love what he's doing to still do shit like that. I mean, that just blows my mind. Just unbelievable. Gotta love Sting. What a classic. And Darby Allen, man, just running 100 miles an hour across the ring, diving through the ropes, just plowing Jarrett over. God, I loved it. There were some parts of this match that were just so much fun to watch. Um, and the classic TNA chant. Just I wrote wow. Sting and Darby Allen come off with the win here. AEW women's title match. Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter. Man, this match warranted and got a standing ovation by the time it was done. Number one, they love Britt Baker. So, getting Rebel and then getting Britt Baker in to kind of, sneak some stuff in here, some shenanigans, if you will. The crowd and I don't know. I know they love Tony Storm, and I love Tony Storm, but there's something organic about the rise of Jamie Hayter and what she's become as a woman growing in this brand of all elite wrestling. Um, and I've seen it in the Discord, the TNI Discord. I've seen people like Mark. What does he always say? He says Hater is Bader, and I'm like, what the hell is that? He goes, I don't know, but that's Hater's Bader. Just like that's his Bay, whatever. I think we're too old to be talking like that, but anyways, we're still hip and cool, right? Uh, Anna says the women got a good amount of time tonight. They did. They did. There was no, oh, you get 3 minutes, I think the days of the 3-minute women matches are done, and they deserve it. I mean, they deserve the more time, not that they deserved the 3-minute matches. No, that's, unless you're booking a, Masha Slamovich is going to plow through someone in 30 seconds, then okay, then I'm fine with it. But other than that, no, I want to see a good women's match. I love women wrestling. So Rebel came out there. I love Rebel. I'm always going to love Rebel. Britt came out there, and they both had the Jamie Hayter shirts on. That was great to see. Obviously, some new merch from Jamie Hayter. And right there, when they had the new shirts on, I'm like, oh, they got new merch on. Huh. Oh, maybe someone else is going to win tonight. You got to plug the new merch for the possible new champ. Well, maybe. Well, sure enough, we got a new champ tonight. Tony Storm looking a little rough by the end of that match. Probably a busted schnoz, unfortunately. And I don't know. I thought Tony Storm was really going to hold on to it. And is it me, or is it time to just drop the interim term? Because I don't think Thunder Rosa is coming back anytime soon. It's been well over 30 days. And when the 30 days is up, if you can't defend your title, then you need to drop it. So they need to drop the interim, and on the next Dynamite, in fact, this should have happened tonight when Jamie Hayter became champ. Tony should have came out and said, by the way, Jamie Hayter's the new women's champion. She is not the interim champion anymore. It's time. I mean, and I still love Thunder Rosa. I don't know what's going on with her, but you can't uphold the championship that long. It's not fair to the fans, and it's not fair to the men and women that bust their asses to put on these matches. I mean, yeah, okay. I know that the championships aren't real per se, but to the fans, they are. You know, when you're telling a story in the ring, the fans get emotionally involved. Those titles mean something. So, and you're telling the fans that, yeah, they're champion, but they're not really worth being champion. It's like, no, just get rid of that term interim and just give them the freaking championship. You know, when so and so comes back, they can get a championship shot. Thunder Rosa will deserve it. You know, she never lost the title. That's fine. Anyone that happens to, they can get their shot. But man, Jamie Hayter's on a roll right now. She's that's one of those organic fan reactions. You know, it feels organic. Like they didn't do like a ton of hype behind this either. I don't feel like. I mean, there was a little storyline, like they were old friends, and Toni Storm did act like that when she came down to the ring. She wasn't all, yeah, you know. I mean, she was pretty cut and dry, like, yeah, let's do this shit, you know. So, but yeah, great match, a lot of close calls. I think Rebel and Britt being out there did add to the drama. Did help the momentum of Jamie possibly getting that win, and it just grew throughout the match. Like, oh my god, she may actually have a chance, and then she won. Like at one point it was like, okay, she's definitely winning this, you know. It had that feeling. So congrats to Jamie Hayter, she's great. Toni Storm, we'll see what's next for her, but I don't know. Something happened with Toni Storm, and she just kind of, I don't know. I love Toni Storm, but something happened, and I know I've been a little here and there when it comes to wrestling because of all the stuff that happened here. But is it me, or does it feel like something kind of fell off with Toni Storm? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. AEW tag titles match, ton of fun here. The Acclaimed retain their championship. Bowen's banged up, but man, is that dude is tough. That dude is tough. I don't know what all happened with his shoulder, but they came out on top. They told a hell of a story. They really did. The drama between Keith Lee and Swerve came to they became feverish during this match. Excuse me, to the point that Swerve was slapping Keith, and Keith was like, you know what, I'm done with your ass. Patted Bowens on the back, left the ring, and Swerve was like, hey, where the hell are you going? Get back here. And and Keith Lee left. So I think a lot of people thought that Keith Lee was going to go full heel tonight and really solidify that team with Swerve tonight. And even if he did, I wouldn't buy it, just because of how Keith Lee's always been. It would have been hard to buy it. I don't see it happening. He's Keith Lee's always been that big guy that's he's just fun to cheer, and he's just the way he talks and everything. He's fun to cheer. If he turned heel, fine, but he would have to do something pretty lousy to, make it feel organic, And he just wasn't going to do it tonight. Swerve wanted them to use the pliers and break fingers and all this kind of shit, and just Keith wasn't having it. But the match was a lot of fun. Billy Gunn, or Daddy Ass, excuse me, even came down to the ring because he had enough of Swerve's shenanigans. But the Acclaimed won, and no one else came down. We didn't see FTR all night, as far as I know, unless I blinked and missed or something. So that was actually kind of nice, because I feel like when FTR shows up, then it's always a nod to, yeah, you're the tag champs, but we have all the other belts in the industry, so you're really not the best. That's what I always feel like. So having FTR not show up tonight actually felt like a really good win for the Acclaim. Told a great story in the ring, and we'll have to wait and see what's next for these guys. Whew. Main event time, folks. Main event time. MJF versus Mox. Man, MJF was so excited. I mean, going into this, I had a really big feeling like he was going to win. It was in the air. The crowd was there for it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw a sign that says, if Mox wins, we riot, somewhere in the arena. Or it said, or if MJF loses, we riot. It was something like that. The the announcers were completely speechless after MJF stuck his face in that woman's boobs. Well, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Did he actually do that? He looked at her, pointed at her boobs, and she nodded yes, and he went, I was like, oh, hell no. Like I don't know. Like I have some women that watch the show. I don't know if you were offended by that. I was more shocked than anything, but I was like, MJF is just, he always comes across as that spoiled brat that can get away with anything. I don't know if I don't know if they were just speechless after that, or if they were like pissed at him, or if they were so pissed they like cut all their mics, until they told them to calm down or something. I don't know what happened, but I was just like, oh my God, he actually did that. Mox came down to the ring, got the true heel heat tonight from this crowd. Anna says he can motorboat me anytime. That is not the response I thought I was going to get, Anna, but I'm just going to continue. Oh, that was rich. Hey. All good. But yeah, I yes, yes, you did. I am broken. Mox flipping off the crowd, like, yeah, just bring it. And Mox is one of those guys, you can pretty much throw anything at him and he can take it, because he's always been like that. He hasn't always shown that, but he's always had that down deep inside. And that goes back to his like CZW Dragon Gate USA days, like on the indies. That's just his character. depending on where he performed, it was either turned up to 10 or dialed back to be a little more PG. But that's always been him. But this crowd, bringing the FU Moxley, it was MJF's night. MJF could have slashed everyone's throats in the front row and still been cheered. I mean, seriously, this was MJF's night. Okay, maybe that's a little extreme, but he practically could have gotten away with murder. He played a great baby face. Mox played a great heel. And I was kind of wondering where William Regal was. And then I remembered something. I was watching Wrestle Talk, or one of those, international news podcast shows. And someone said, or maybe it was something different, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was one of those. And they said, I still got money on that William Regal is going to end up turning on Mox, and he's going to help MJF win the championship. And I was like, oh, that's good, but it'll never happen. Like, because you come up with that stuff, you start doing a little speculation like, oh, how is this going to go down? Is there going to be shenanigans? Is somebody going to turn on someone, like I said? But no, it's not going to happen, because usually that stuff, when we come up with stuff like that, it's maybe a little too far-fetched. A lot of these shows, they just try to get through safely without anything insane happening, and then something will happen on TV. But this was one of those times where I was like, oh my God, it's actually happening. William Regal, first of all, William Regal comes down and scolds MJF. Scolds MJF for contemplating using the ring. He was going to use that ring. And then MJF was like, damn it. Yeah, you're right. I said I wasn't going to use it. I'm not going to use it. And he ends up throwing it. The funny part is, go watch what happens after that. The security guy, the guy that was helping up MJF, helping him up the ramp at the end of the match, the bald guy, the security guy that stands down at the bottom of the ramp, he was scrambling for the ring. Like, he was supposed to pick it up and hang on to it for, MJF, but MJF threw it, and it ended up going underneath like the busted table that Mox had put MJF through, and they just had it off to the side. Oh my God. Also, this guy's like scrambling. It's like, where'd the ring go? And if you blinked, you missed it. If you blinked, you missed it. It happened so fast. What the hell is that? Oh, it's a fuzzy or something. Okay. Anyways. But yeah, that was one little funny thing that happened during the match. But yeah, so William Regal scolds MJF. MJF throws the ring, and then some other stuff happens, and then the ref is checking on Mox again. MJF is crawling towards the ropes, and William Regal slides him the brass nuts. Or knucks, excuse me, not nuts. What nuts? These nuts. No, brass knucks. And you heard the arena do a collective, and it was priceless to hear. What was it? I'm just gonna guess 15,000 people, give or take. I don't know how big this arena was. We'll just say 15,000. 15,000 people going, gasping. at William Regal helping MJF, because as soon as that happened, you're like, oh, it's done. He's got this. And then looking at William Regal's smirk as he's backing up the ramp slowly after MJF gets the win, after he just mocks Cillian and tucks the brass knucks in his shorts. Oh man. Randy Sam, good evening. We'll read a few things here from you, and then I'll get back to this. All right, so he says, J-Bone, I gotta say, Impact pay-per-view yesterday was better than AEW. I stand for Impact. All right. This pay-per-view was so dreadful, man. What? Really? Why? Because the Elite get another shot this Wednesday. What, they get someone else to face trios? No, it's a best of 7 they announced, dude. It's MJF was the only thing interesting, J-Bone, but Impact pay-per-view was better. So, and that's fine. That's fine. It's your opinion. I'm not going to say one was better than the other because, man, I feel like both shows brought it. I loved both of them. Both were completely different. They just had a different. I mean, one, the atmosphere is different. You know, this one, the show tonight was $1 million gate. So you had, like, I'm guessing about 15,000 people plus there, which, you know, absolutely was, you know, it gives a different atmosphere than the show last night. And that's not to say that crowd in Louisville, Kentucky, or wherever it was didn't bring it. It was fine. So, but yeah, you can have your opinion, and that's fine. Randy Sam and Jeff Samuel must have been sitting together because they have the exact same opinion, so that's fine. Anna says my daughter wore her Metallica shirt today too. Okay, so you know, and that's fine. Like I said, love what you love, hate what you hate, whatever. You know, if you watched both and liked one more than the other, it's fine. It's fine. You know, but just don't tell me I'm wrong, okay? Because you can have your opinion, and I'll respect yours, okay? It's all good. It's all good, you know. But thank you for sharing your opinion. I appreciate it. You're wrong, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Watch people lose their absolute minds over that. So no, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're, you know, putting your stuff in the chat. I asked you guys to. That's fine. But yeah, overall, I love this show. The crowd was a big part of it. The crowd was on fire all night, made each match feel like it was main event status. The women, all the women's matches brought it tonight. They had 3 matches. They were given a decent amount of time. Yeah, I saw that sign, Jeff. That sign is garbage because he made that sign before there was even a Full Gear show. So that sign is garbage. That doesn't mean anything. You can say it after the fact. Don't say it beforehand. That's just stupid. Okay, that's my opinion on that. Anyways, how do you feel about Regal being a sellout, joining MJF? Where do you think this is going? I'm okay with it, because I'll be honest, and I heard someone else say this, and I kind of agree. And now I can't even remember the Combat Club, the Blackpool Combat Club, kind of went from being like the top draw, you know, group in AEW to just like a name on a t-shirt. They went from always being together, doing stuff together, to they all of a sudden didn't do stuff together. They had their own things going on, and it just kind of oddly dissipated to nothing. William Regal always came out with mocks, rarely came out, I feel like, with some of the others. And it just, I don't know. I don't know why. It just, you know, it was the biggest thing and then kind of just faltered. Um, but this happening, I was fine with because it felt like it was going somewhere not so good. MJF having these moments with William Regal where William Regal's actually felt like he was like teaching him something, felt like something was coming. And that just is a compliment to both William Regal and MJF making that happen. I don't remember what episode that was. That was like a few weeks ago, I think. It was the time when like Mox wasn't there or something. But and William Regal was like just trying to put him in his place, but I think at the same time there was some kind of, I'm not gonna say attraction is the wrong word. Um, no, just like William Regal sees like a MJF as a younger version of himself or something like that, which is where it's just probably going to end up being like that. But I'm sure we're going to find out sooner rather than later as far as what exactly happened. Maybe it'll all be broken down at the scrum. I don't know, but I'm going to watch that next. Yes, Anna, thank you. Long-term storytelling. She says Mox doesn't need Regal. He can talk fine. The other guys need him. Okay, I'll buy that. I think the other guys are okay. They're not as good as Mox, but yeah, I'll buy the whole they need Regal, but obviously that's I don't see I think the Blackpool Combat Club is, you could call it done after tonight, because the rest of the guys are going to be like, fuck you, man. What happened to Regal? What the hell? So great show. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I bought it. I was pretty excited for most of these matches, and Anna says they're not very good on the mic. Well, yeah, like I said, they're not as good as Mox. So yeah. So you guys are cracking me up. All right. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you everyone for coming. And we'll be back on here soon to discuss whatever's in the world of wrestling or music or whatnot. I know I'm not on this here as much as I'd like to be, but it's just the way the world's turning right now. So I get on here when I can. So, but nonetheless, thank you all for being here. On your way out, make sure you smash that like button, smash that sub button, ring that bell for notifications, so that you know when more of my content hits your screen. Good night, folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care. Good night.